Imagine this: Dexter Morgan standing in the shadows of New York, eyeing a threat so terrifying that even he hesitates. That's exactly where Dexter Resurrection Season 2 is headed, because the showrunner has finally confirmed the arrival of the long-teased villain fans have been obsessing over for months. The New York Ripper is no longer just a whisper in police files or a ghost haunting Detective Wallace's regrets. He's real, he's coming, and he's finally stepping into the spotlight. And tonight, we're breaking down everything Clyde Phillips just revealed on the Dark Passengers podcast. Why Don Framt is about to become Dexter's deadliest hunt yet, and what this means for the April 2026 filming kickoff. So sit tight, because this season isn't just continuing the story, it's flipping the entire danger scale upside down. Now, if you watch Season 1, you already know that Resurrection packed more unhinged villains into a single season than most shows manage in 3. Lady Vengeance, Gemini, Rapunzel, Praetor, the list goes on. But even with all those killers dominating the screen, there was always one silent presence looming behind them. The Ripper wasn't just a rumor. Every character who mentioned him spoke with fear that felt almost personal. Wallace talked about her failed attempts to catch him. Praetor practically admired how the Ripper vanished without a trace. And in the finale, when Dexter quietly pocketed Don Frampt's file, fans instantly knew this wasn't just setup. This was the show drawing a line in blood. The next hunt had been chosen, and this villain was going to be massive. Clyde Phillips kept things under wraps for months, dodging questions and teasing answers that never quite revealed anything. But on November 18th, during his chat on the Dark Passengers A Dexter podcast, he finally cracked. When asked point-blank about Don Framt, Phillips simply said, "He'll be in the second season." It was short, almost casual, but for hardcore fans, it was explosive. This wasn't just confirmation. It was the first official acknowledgement that the Ripper storyline is moving from background mystery to full-blown center-stage chaos. And knowing Phillips, a villain this hyped isn't just appearing. He's becoming the core engine, driving every moral conflict and every hunt Dexter takes on. The fascinating part is how smartly Season 1 seeded this villain without ever showing him. The Ripper became more terrifying precisely because he remained unseen. Think about it. Every time Wallace referenced her past encounters, the tension spiked. Every time someone hinted that he vanished after his last killing spree, the mystery grew. This wasn't just setup. It was deliberate character crafting. Fans weren't waiting to meet another serial killer. They were waiting to meet the killer who even seasoned detectives couldn't touch. And now that we know Don Framt is stepping into Season 2, the stakes for Dexter have skyrocketed. He's not just facing a criminal, he's facing a legend created by fear and failure. What makes Don Framt even more intriguing is how his identity was revealed. Instead of a dramatic confrontation or a shocking mid-season twist, the show dropped the truth in the finale. Through a quiet, almost understated moment, Dexter discovers the Ripper's identity through files. Not violence, not capture, but research and intuition. That's classic Dexter, the silent hunter preparing his next move without the world realizing a storm is building. And that subtle reveal set up a villain who feels dangerous because he's unpredictable. If he's been dormant for years, what was he doing? Why come back now? And how will someone this elusive interact with a predator like Dexter, who thrives on patterns? Fans are already theorizing that Season 2 might take Dexter deeper into psychological territory, forcing him to confront someone who mirrors his own methodical nature but lacks the moral code that keeps Dexter anchored. The Ripper could easily become the kind of killer who doesn't just commit crimes, he builds mythologies around them. And that contrast creates the perfect setup for a cat-and-mouse dynamic, unlike anything we've seen in this franchise. Because for once, Dexter isn't the ghost in the system. He's hunting someone who already mastered that role long before Dexter even returned. And when two predators fight from the shadows, the fallout is usually catastrophic. On top of that, Season 2, beginning its filming in April 2026, is a huge signal that production is moving fast and confidently. Shows don't lock in dates like that unless they're certain about their direction, their villain arcs, and the storyline momentum. The writers clearly know the path they want to take, and that path seems to lead straight into New York's darkest corners. The shift in location alone could open up new styles of kills, new law enforcement dynamics, and new emotional traps for Dexter. And with Don Framt at the center of everything, the story isn't just about catching a killer. It's about navigating a city built on secrets. Another interesting angle is how the supporting characters might tie into the Ripper storyline. Detective Wallace, who failed to catch him in the past, could become emotionally driven, reckless even. Her history with the case could collide with Dexter's agenda, creating tension that feels both personal and dangerous. Meanwhile, any new officers joining Season 2 may find themselves trapped between official procedure and the escalating horror the Ripper unleashes. And if the writers choose to show flashbacks of past victims or failed investigations, viewers might finally understand why this killer became an urban legend. Every detail added now builds the psychological battlefield Dexter is about to enter. But perhaps the most gripping aspect is how Don Framt could challenge Dexter's code. The Ripper's kills are rumored to be brutal, calculated, and deeply symbolic. If he murders based on themes or rituals, Dexter might be forced to interpret patterns he's never seen before. Imagine Dexter realizing that for the first time in years, he's studying someone whose mind he can't immediately decode. That loss of control alone could make Season 2 emotionally explosive. Dexter thrives when he understands the monster he hunts. But what happens when the monster is 2 steps ahead? Or worse, when the monster knows exactly what he is? So as we head toward the next chapter of Dexter Resurrection, one thing is clear. Don Framt isn't just another villain. He's the villain the entire season has been quietly building toward. With Phillips confirming his arrival, the psychological warfare is officially on. Season 2 promises darker themes, deeper hunts, and a showdown between 2 predators who have spent years perfecting their craft. And if the writing mirrors the intensity of Season 1, fans are in for a ride that blends mystery, blood, and mind games at a level the series has never reached before. April 2026 can't come fast enough, because the New York Ripper is finally stepping into the light, and Dexter is already sharpening his knives.